Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And it's our health unit for the month of May. And we're going to be talking about food. Of course, we have to eat every day. Otherwise, we're going to starve to death. But, of course, there are some things associated with food that go along with the internet because when people go out, of course, they like to take pictures of their food and post pictures of their food online. I think I heard somebody say before that don't do that because every picture of food makes it look like puke. Not always,
No,
but
really?
I think sometimes it's like, well, I'm sure you guys enjoyed that meal, but that just doesn't look very appetizing to me.
Oh, I've seen good pictures, Tom. I don't know who you're following.
You got to know what you're doing because if you get the lighting wrong or the composition wrong, it's just going to look really terrible. It's going to look like something I wouldn't feed my dog to.
Oh, okay.
But in any case, a lot of times people think they know what they're doing when they're eating food, but actually we're being controlled by people who kind of manipulate your mind to get you to eat things that you normally wouldn't.
Well, that's what social media is all about. Manipulating people to believe things. And so what's new? It's just, it's gone into the world of food and health and everything. So, yeah, we're going to talk about some of these influencers. I bet you guys know what that word is if you are a social media fan, and if you're on Facebook, Instagram, Line, what are some other ones? All those social media platforms. TikTok is popular. So we're going to get started. We're going to read through day one, and then we'll come back to talk about this particular area of the world. It's kind of interesting.
When was the last time you looked at social media? It's likely been less than a day since you browsed a website or app like Instagram. It's therefore likely been less than a day since you were served an enticing advertisement from Foodpanda, Uber Eats, or another food-related company. Ads like these prime you to make certain decisions when it comes to food. The truth is, none of us has as much choice around food as we think we do. There is established, respected research that links exposure to food to our desire for it. This might come in the form of scents or sounds that sneak into our subconscious when we walk through a food court or grocery store, but this type of exposure most frequently reaches us via visuals, especially on social media. In a similar vein, a study from Emory University demonstrated the social impact our friends' food choices make on our own. This makes modern social media the perfect storm of peer pressure, visual temptation, and easy access. Making the problem worse is the fact that most ads promote unhealthy food, like snacks that are high in sugar and fat. Historically, calorie-dense food would have helped us survive lean times, which is why it appeals to us so strongly now. However, since most of us no longer face hard times like our ancestors did, we run the risk of eating too much sugar and fat, which takes a toll on our bodies. Even worse, if most of the food being advertised to us is unhealthy, it can make us think that a normal, healthy diet somehow consists of unhealthy food.
Okay, so when was the last time you looked at social media? I bet people out there probably were looking at it 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, a day? That's ridiculous. Most people are looking at social media right now while they're listening to this program.
Probably. It's likely been less than a day since you browsed a website or app like Instagram. I know people who are posting several times a day on some of these platforms. So I look a lot, but I don't post much. Sometimes I post pictures, but it's just with family members. I tend not to. I haven't been on Facebook in a 3 years, 2 years. But I am on Instagram because my family posts pictures of their kids there, and I like to look. And also I follow some food accounts, not restaurant accounts, but cooks accounts to get good recipes. But if you're browsing, that's a word we use a lot when we're talking about just looking over something casually. We use browser. That's allows you to search for websites that you like. It's a browser. Most people use some form of Google Chrome, Firefox. I use Brave because they don't track you like Google does. I hate being tracked all the time. I know people here in Taiwan don't mind it. They're constantly doing the QR code when they go places. I refuse to be tracked. Yeah, I like my privacy, people. You browse the internet. I'm going to be browsing online to find some things I want. Maybe you're writing a report. You can browse and find some information that you can use. Or maybe you're shopping online, which I like to do. And you might want to browse some different clothing websites and then decide later what you want.
Yep, so it's likely been less than a day or less than an hour or less than a minute since you browsed a website or since you browsed an app like Instagram or other websites, other apps and platforms. It's therefore likely been less than a day since you were served an enticing advertisement from Foodpanda, Uber Eats, or another food-related company. So because we're on our phones pretty much all the time, it's very likely that you were shown or served an enticing advertisement from these other platforms like Foodpanda, Uber Eats, or another food-related company. If something's enticing, it's tempting, it's something that you want to check out, and they're very clever. They use nice colors. They use pretty girls a lot of time to get your attention. And, of course, they also put pictures of yummy food there that you might want to indulge in.
I don't see many ads from Foodpanda or Uber Eats.
Well, I've seen quite a few.
Oh, really? I do use Uber Eats all the time, more so than Foodpanda. But yeah, ads or advertisements. Ads is short for advertisement. Ads like these prime you to make certain decisions when it comes to food. If you prime something, we often use this verb to talk about making sure an engine of some sort has enough oil in it and can function properly, prime the pump. You'll often hear that when we used to pump water from underneath the ground, you'd have to prime the pump before the water would start coming out. So this is just meaning you prepare something well. So they prepare you or encourage you to make certain decisions when it comes to food. And as Tom said, a lot of people post, pictures of their meals, they want you to feel jealous that they're eating this delicious meal. And maybe it gets you hungry or wanting to go to that particular restaurant when you see some of these ads or pictures that your friends post online.
Indeed, it's the pictures that people are posting that aren't really doing this on purpose. People are just kind of bragging and showing off the kind of food that they eat, especially if it has a rather exotic name using Italian or French or something like that. Look at the food I'm eating. What kind of crap are you eating today? Hey, I bet you're jealous of me. So in any case, that's kind of something else, I think. But we're talking about advertisements coming from various people who are trying to get you to buy food from them. And we think that we control what we look at, but the truth is none of us has as much choice around food as we think we do. We think we can make our choices about what we want to eat, but basically we're being brainwashed by all these advertisements and pictures that our friends are posting on Facebook and stuff like that. We're really being controlled, but I think most people won't admit that.
Oh, I think more and more people are becoming aware that news, movies, ads, they're all sort of brainwashing people into believing a certain way. So wake up, guys. Don't be brainwashed into believing some of the things you see. These people who are influencers on Instagram in particular or Facebook, they're paid a lot of money to get you to buy into whatever they're selling, whether it's a cosmetic product or a particular restaurant that they like. Oh, they get paid to get you excited about those things. There is established, respected research, scientists have done research, that links exposure to food to our desire for it. So if you're exposed to food, maybe the smell, some restaurants will pump out that smell. For example, movie theaters, a long time ago, they realized that popcorn, the smell of popping popcorn and that butter got people hungry. And so they started piping or pumping that scent outside so that people would come into the theater. It works. There are restaurants in my neighborhood, I swear, they're putting that smell out there so that we'll walk indoors because we just want that. One of the things that's successful at the night markets in Taiwan, I think, is that 鲜蔬鸡的味道, that scent gets me so crazy. I just want to buy it whenever I smell it. So, yeah, there is a big, and there's respected research, meaning they've done studies that have proven this true, that the link between exposure or being exposed, seeing, smelling, tasting, that food affects the desire or your wanting of it. You want more. As you're exposed to it more, you want more of it.
And I don't think you should overwhelm people with those smells. They might get disgusted as a result of that, so they need to be more subtle. And yes, indeed, this desire might come in the form of scents or sounds that sneak into our subconscious. So maybe we don't really know that we're smelling this thing, but later on we realize, boy, I'd like to have a cup of coffee. I don't know why. I think I smelled coffee somewhere, but gee, I'd really like to have some Blue Mountain coffee right now. And so a scent is an aroma, something that we smell. An odor is also a smell, but it's kind of bad. There's some kind of weird odor in here, but a scent, scent to me kind of refers to perfume, but it could also be food. Aroma.
Something that's pleasing, usually, though.
Yeah, an aroma to me is a word that is used to describe food. So it has a pleasant aroma. It has a pleasant scent. You wouldn't say odor. You might, but odor usually is used to refer to bad smells.
Yeah. Scent is it's used more in a positive way, but it could be used in a negative way. But aroma is always positive. That's a good smell. Ooh, what a lovely aroma. Yeah, so scents can really affect your desire for something. Or sounds can sneak into our subconscious when we walk through a food court or grocery store, but this type of exposure most frequently reaches us via visuals, especially on social media. Tom, there are too many good things in this particular sentence to continue on. Let's take a break here. Then we'll come back and we'll have more time to break some of these things down.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是5月份杂志5月18号 Unit 11 Social Media and Snacks Food Choices in the Modern World。这个单元有2天的课程内容，带着我们认识网络时代我们的饮食选择是否发生了重大改变。今天是第1天课程，好，我们现在一起来看看学习重点。请同学看到第1段的第2句 It's likely been less than a day since you browse a website or app like Instagram。首先，同学，老师要提醒各位 It's likely 这边 It's很多同学呢容易搞混，这个 it 有可能是 it is 的缩写，也有可能是 it has 的缩写。那这里是现在完成式，所以它是 it has 的缩写。而且同学是否有看到后面 since you browse 用 since 来连接一个过去式的子句？那这就表示说你上一次浏览网站或者呢，像 Instagram 这样的应用程式，到现在应该还不到1天吧。好，再来，请同学呢看到第3句，就是 Since you were served an enticing advertisement from Food Panda， 这里 served， you were served， 一般而言哦，我们会说 serve。是像譬如说去餐厅里面，然后呢这个餐厅他们有提供哪一些菜肴，我们会用 serve 这个动词。不过这里呢指的是收到 Food Panda 诱人的广告。再来第4个句子，最后面提到 when it comes to food， 指的呢是说到食物的时候。再来请同学看到第5个句子 The truth is none of us has as much choice around food as we think we do。 这句话的意思是真相是我们没有任何一个人对食物像我们以为的有那么多选择。那再来老师也要提醒各位 none 这一个代名词它其实后面有 单数型的动词，也有复数型的动词，我们要看上下文再做判断。再来，请看到第二段第一个句子 There is established 这边，这里所指的呢是这个 establish 意思是行之有年，广受肯定的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All right, everybody, let's continue with our lesson. We're talking about food influencers, people trying to get you to buy certain kinds of food so they can make money. And unfortunately, some of this food is not very healthy, which we'll get to in just a second. But we've got some research that says, or that links or connects exposure to food to our desire for it. And this exposure to the food may come in the form of scents or aromas or smells, or also sounds, maybe like the sound of popcorn popping or something like that, or food frying in a vat of oil or something like that that might make us feel hungry. And again, these things sneak into our subconscious. If you sneak into something, you go into a place without being noticed. Okay, so you might want to sneak into your neighbor's house, for example, to watch TV for a couple of hours because your TV is broken or for whatever reason. And your subconscious, of course, is under where you're thinking. Of course, your conscious mind is what you're thinking about right now, but we all have a subconscious which we're not really in control of most of the time, or we're not aware of.
Be aware, too, guys, that if you use sneak, the verb, it's always followed by an adverb or a preposition. You sneak into, sneak out of a place, sneak in. When I was growing up, a lot of kids would go to a movie and they had paid for a ticket to see one particular film, and then they would sneak out of that movie theater and go down the hallway and watch another one for free. That's dishonest, just so you know. So sneak into, sneak out of, sneaked past. You can sneak past somebody if you don't want them to see you. So yeah, it can sneak into your subconscious mind, the mind part of your mind that you're not aware of. When you walk through a food courts exist in malls typically. For example, 101, there's what I think it's B1, B2. Anyway, it's a food court where lots of small restaurants are set up to feed people and then places to sit. Or maybe a grocery store. Maybe you're smelling some yummy things or hearing sounds in a grocery store that get you to buy something. In a similar vein or in a similar way, vein here just means method or way. So in a similar vein, a study from Emory University in the United States demonstrated the social impact our friends' food choices make on our own. Yeah, so if you have an impact on something or somebody, it means you have an effect on them, a powerful influence or some sort of major influence on them. Lots of things can impact us. Here, impact is being used as a noun, though. It can be used as a verb as well. Impact somebody, or that thing has a big impact on my decisions. My parents had a huge impact on my life and the way that they taught me right from wrong growing up. So, yeah, our food choices can influence our own.
Right, so if we see our friends posting pictures of the great pastries that they had for dessert at a really special shop in Ximending or something like that,
Yum.
We're going to think, oh, that looks really good. My friend is eating that. I should eat that too. So, of course, the choices that our friends make with food influences our own choices. That's according to a study from Emory University. And, of course, we're going to see pictures of their food via visuals. We're going to see pictures on social media and stuff like that. And this makes modern social media the perfect storm of peer pressure, visual temptation, and easy access. Notice here we're using the word storm here, which means a lot of activity, usually violent activity in the atmosphere. like a tornado or a thunderstorm. Those are examples of storm. But here we're getting lots of pressure from our peers, which are basically people in the same position that we are, our coworkers, our classmates, etc., etc. Also, we've got a storm of visual temptation with all these pictures, and they're making our mouths water. And of course, we have easy access to this food. Hey, that pastry looks really good. All you got to do is go online, and Food Panda will have it at your doorstep in less than 5 minutes with the way those guys drive.
You know what? We kind of skipped over via and visuals. Let me go back. It's my fault. Via here is one of our vocab words. It just means by going through a particular way or by way of. I could say I flew to Los Angeles via Chicago. It's also pronounced via by some people. Via is probably heard a little bit more. It can also mean by means of a person or a machine or by using something. I'll let you know via line later today what I want to do. Or he did some research via computer. And a visual here is a noun. It just means something that you look at like a picture, a chart, a film, something that you can see. If you're giving a presentation at work, you might want to have some really good visuals because it will be more impactful. It'll make a bigger impact.
Right, so our friends, of course, are making food choices, and they make an impact on our own food choices. And then, of course, social media is the perfect place to see this stuff. We've got lots of peer pressure. There's visual temptation with those pictures. And, of course, we can get those food items really easily by going out or ordering them online.
What's a peer again?
Peer, yeah, somebody, again, in your own social position. If you're going to school, then your classmates are your peers. If you're working in an office, then your coworkers are your peers.
Usually it's in the same age group as well.
Exactly. So we've got peer pressure, of course. Hey, I'm having this thing. You should have it too. Otherwise, you're a loser. And so, of course, we've got that peer pressure. And the pictures are nice with lots of colors and stuff like that. And, of course, they don't just take one picture. They take several pictures from every possible angle and pictures of them eating it as well. Boy, we'd really like to have that French pastry that my friend is eating. Now let's move on to the next paragraph.
This is our final paragraph. Making the problem worse is the fact that most ads promote unhealthy food. And our writer says like snacks. Snacks are typically high in sugar, carbohydrates, bad fat. There are good fats, guys, like avocado. That's good fat. Fat from nuts is excellent fat. So don't skip fat entirely. But what they're talking about is the bad fat. What's worse is probably sugar and carbs. So there's some really especially simple carbohydrates put on the weight quickly. So historically or over history or over time, calorie-dense food. Calorie-dense, calories are ways to measure the heat or amount of energy that foods produce in the human body. If you have a piece of food that is high in calories, you're going to have to exercise a lot to burn those calories off, or those calories will add fat and weight to your body. So be careful with that. Calorie dense means food that has a lot of calories in it. Calorie dense foods are often good for you if you are trying to survive lean times. Maybe there's a drought or a famine in a land. You'll need calories to help your body just continue to survive and live. We aren't in lean times right now, though, so we need to make sure we limit our calories. Don't eat too many. You can look around you even today and see, even in Taiwan, we've got people who have eaten too much. We need to exercise more. Of course, America's problem is much worse.
Exercising won't help, by the way.
No. It does help.
I guess a little bit.
Helps your heart.
Your diet, of course, will affect it mostly. And here it goes on to say, however, since most of us no longer face hard times like our ancestors did, we run the risk of eating too much sugar and fat, which takes a toll on our bodies. So here, to take a toll just means to damage or have a bad effect on something. too much sugar in your diet takes a toll on your body. You might get diabetes and have amputations and stuff like that. And even worse, if most of the food being advertised to us is unhealthy, it can make us think that a normal, healthy diet somehow consists of unhealthy food. Yeah, pictures of salad and Mediterranean dishes and stuff like that, you just don't see them so much on the internet. It's always those sweet snacks, ice cream and cake and stuff like that. Those seem to be the most common kinds of pictures of food that you see.
Yeah, so be careful. Don't be fooled into eating all this stuff just because it looks good. Maybe give yourself a treat once a week. Once or twice a week is good. And then try to be good the rest of the week. It's hard, though, I must admit. I like some naughty food, too. Right now, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher.
好的，请同学看到第二段的第二个句子。首先，请同学呢先看到 This might come in the form of scents or sounds that sneak into our subconscious 这个部分。请同学看到 sneak into 这个动词片语。这里呢所指的是这些气味或者声音可能会偷偷的潜入我们的潜意识，意思就是呢，我们的潜意识会受到这些声音或者气味的影响。那再来，请同学看到第三个句子，这个句子结构比较复杂，主词是 A study from Emory University， 动词是 demonstrated， 证实，受词是 the social impact， 而这个受词后面有个省略了关代 which 的关系子句。Our friends' food choices make on our own choices. 再来，请同学注意词语搭配。A study demonstrated something， 意思是研究证实了某样东西。再来，请同学看到整个句子的开头 in a similar vein。vein 指的是静脉，而片语 in the same vein 是譬喻引申的片语，指的是有两件以上的事物。背后的道理或思考逻辑是相同的。再来，请同学看到第三段的第一句 Making the problem worse is the fact that 请同学注意，这是倒装句哦。The fact that most ads promote unhealthy food 才是主词，表示多数广告都在宣传不健康的食物。再来，请看到第二句，后面呢有一个Calorie-dense food would have helped us survive lean times. 这里呢，请同学特别注意到，原本呢卡路里很高的这些食物，应该是有办法帮我们度过物资缺乏、物资匮乏的时期。请同学特别注意到，这里所使用的是假设语气 would have passed。那原本应该会这个样子的，可是呢，因为我们现在已经不是在物资匮乏的年代了，所以这里我们用 would 加 have 再加 pp。那请同学也特别注意到 lean times 表示物资匮乏的时期。再来，请看第三句。第三句在第二个逗点之后 ，we run the risk of eating too much sugar and fat。那我们冒着什么样子的风险？动词呢，我们用 run the risk of doing something。以上就是我们所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join us again next time when we continue to talk about food influencers. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.